not doing a third debate. I can't. I'm going to be honest. I was concerned. I was worried. I thought he was going to gish gallop right over her. I really did.
She led him along. I'm going
to be honest. From someone who loves watching law shows to an actual lawyer. The lawyers I know, other than you, are saying she had him shook from the moment she crossed over and shook his hand, said, Kamala Harris, let's have a great debate.
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily like an insight of lawyers per se, but it was taking dominance immediately, because you've seen the way Trump shakes hands.
Yes.
I mean, he just grips your hand and yanks it.
Kind of, he rapes your hand, much like it's like, I would rape your body, but I'm just going to rape your hand.
Well, Kamala Harris just took it and he let her do it. Because
she's a star. She's a star. She let him do. He let her do it.
When you're a star prosecutor, they let you do it.
They absolutely Oh my God, the way that could be taken, the ways we could take that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, honestly, I did not see that. I mean, I should have seen it coming, but I should have seen it coming. I really should have, but
I didn't know what to expect. I was nervous. And so I think
we all were a little. If we were all going to be, if we all are going to be honest with each other in the kumbaya, in the circle of trust, we were nervous. I like I said, I thought he was going to gish gallop right over her. Not even give her a moment to breathe.
Yeah. It was, he's unpredictable in debates because he's performed at various quality and control levels. I mean, after the first debate with Biden, he got himself way under control for the second debate. Yeah, and I didn't know what Trump was going to show up.
Yeah, I mean, there were people that had, I'm sure at William Hill and other offshore betting houses, there were legitimate lines of, will he break and call her the N-word? Will he break and call her the C-word? Will he break and call her the B-word? There was a genuine thing people were concerned about.
And it's kind of like a fun joke to have, like, oh, he's going to say it. I didn't think it was going to happen. He's managed to, if someone of his temperament has managed to control himself that way thus far, he's going to have to degrade a lot further before he just starts throwing that shit out there in public.
But what I do believe is
he's not going to full Michael Richards.
Yeah, but I will say this. He ran off stage during the second commercial break. I think he ran into that bathroom and called her every single name of the book.
Oh yeah, probably.
Some people said, nah, he went to get a bump of cocaine. I'm like, no.
He's not. He doesn't do that. That's not him. He's a very, that's at the most he, I've heard he snorts Adderall.
Yeah. I'm like, but I'm looking at this whole thing. I'm the fact that she was able to goad him into this. And the best part is apparently the Springfield lie was on the agenda that he was going to mention it anyway. It's just she forced him. It's just that she got under his skin to the point where he just threw whatever whatever concept of a plan he had, and threw it right out she got him to throw it right out the window.
There's I mean, she got under his skin with the handshake, and then she further got under his skin with sorry, when I said that, my wife did the like yes fist pump sound, like, because I watched the debate the second time with my wife, and it was just there's something about knowing what's coming that makes it even more satisfying.
Yes. Like, sir, you have no idea how badly you are going to be rocked.
Yeah, it was stunning, and it's not that I didn't have faith in Kamala. It's just that I don't know what Trump's going to show up, and that leads to a hazard of preparing for the wrong debate.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to be honest, I don't know if she even prepared for the Trump that showed up. I think she just said, if I can do A, I think I got him.
Well, going back to the whole being a lawyer thing, a lot of shows and media have done a disservice for people who think that good lawyering is being able to think on the fly. And good lawyering is about being the most prepared a human being could possibly be and knowing everything before you even show up.
And I think she was mentally shuffling through her flashcards for the first 5 minutes.
She did seem nervous until she landed the first big punch.
Yeah, she was mentally shuffling through her flashcards, seeing, what am I going to do here? And then the moment she hit the punch, she's like, ah.
Yeah, I have a theory that she was thrown off base by the fact that they went right into the questions with no opening statements. There was no closing statements. That's not my theory. That was what someone noticed, and that's part of it. But I think the other thing,
I think that's a perfectly cromulent theory that she was mentally that she had an improvisational opening statement, but the lack of an opening statement threw her off. So she was mentally shuffling through her flashcards until she hit something.
Yeah. But that part's not my theory. I was watching analysis that said that mentioned the lack of opening statement might have been what made her nervous. What I think got her on track was when she landed the first punch, outside of the handshake, the first punch with the dig about the economist at the Wharton School.
Yes. I was like, that is shade. That was brilliant. It was shady. And I think it hinted to him, oh shit, she's prepared. She's prepared.
And I don't think she knew if that was going to land anything, but the fact that he started coming back and talking about, despite the fact that she said the Wharton economists approved my plan, he had to immediately come back with the alternate reality that everyone at Wharton loves my plan, says it's the greatest, blah, blah, blah. She knew at that moment she could bait him for the rest of the evening because he was in a mood.
I think also people really do underestimate that I've heard this analysis that the generational gap it's finally showing, because she depending on who you ask, is she an Xer or is she Generation Jones, which is a micro generation, kind of like Zennial?
I mean, she's Gen X. You've seen the picture of her with that haircut. She's Gen
X. That haircut is everything. I wish she'd bring it back. That proto Patrick Mahomes haircut is amazing.
That haircut is one of those things where you just look at it and go, I never thought to question, not to demean her accomplishments in life, but I never thought to wonder, could we have a fuckable president in our lifetime? And because it's been since JFK.
JFK, yeah. Basically, we ain't had a president that made people go, I normally don't do this. Yeah.
And I know people want to say, hey, come on now, Barack. And I'm just like, now he's a smoker.
Barack is your friend's dad. Barack is your bestie's professor. Barack is too. There is something familiar about him that kind of takes him out of that realm. Probably doubly, triply so if you're a person of color.
I think it's something that
quadruply so if you're a college-educated person of color.
This is something I only am aware of through like friendships, because I never would have picked it up on myself,
Mhm.
but like learning that, you know, Barack Obama for a lot of white people was cool and hip, but really he was a total blurred. It just so happened that the nerd part was the law.
Yeah.
And he was a nerd for constitutional law
Yeah,
and
if you're
civics and
Mhm.
government. And that's the kind of thing, like, it's basically, it's, he was not, you know, he was in a different column. He wasn't JFK fuckable. He was that guy who could run your fantasy football team for you.
Yes. Yes. He was the guy who, even though he may not have smoked weed himself, knew the dude with the good weed. He was that guy. Not necessarily fuckable, but you kept his number in the Rolodex for reasons. Legit reasons.
Yeah. And, you know,
Like,
so like going back and seeing that picture of Kamala Harris, looking at him like, oh, she fucks. Like,
yeah.
that is, this is the first president that fucks since JFK.
Basically. And I think that's probably why it's hilarious to see Jack Schlossberg absolutely enjoy himself and make his little Nepo baby sinecure job actually look good. Because, I mean, half his TikToks are like, this is him with Doug Imhoff. This is him doing campaign shit. I'm like, okay.
And they're trying to assassinate their character. There was that phone call with the different Republican operatives that George Santos was fucking on, trying to say, like, we need to start planting stories that Kamala Harris is a slut. Like, I'm sorry, it's 2024. Not only would I be fine with a slut president, I hope she organized gangbangs and that I hope she cooked for all of them before they left the next morning.
In other words, you hope that she got, or that it was a group cook thing, you know?
He was conscientious, motherfucker. That is the kind of president I'm looking for.
Like a conscientious swinger. The person who makes sure that there's extra blankets.
Yeah.
Who makes sure that, in other words, you don't just want the person who can organize your fantasy football team, with apologies to Barack. You want the person who will be able to organize the orgy, make sure there's enough extra blankets, that the sofa folds down, and that there's enough rubbers for everybody.
Well, she's extremely detail oriented. She could do it. She could be.
She loves Venn diagrams.
The executive.
She knows who to invite.
Yeah. So I mean, so to go back to it, as far as that applies to debate performance, and we're talking about her readjusting her strategy on the fly, it clicked for me. Like, you know, all these stories that say that she demands all of her staff are prepared and have everything in advance, and
that's like what we. Man.
So they all had this image of her, and the Republicans kind of fell into this trap of thinking, you know, she can't think on her own. She's going to crumble. And here she is, like, oh, she's got the skill to improvise, but she just likes to be prepared. But when she needs to, she will turn on a fucking dime.
It's the fact that they thought that, oh, we're the only ones that have smart black women. No. As hot as she was in the boots and the suit, Condi Rice is not, once you get past a certain level, Condi Rice is not all that exceptional. You just don't know enough black women. I said what I said.
Condi Rice was good for breaking some barriers, but it's one of those things where
I'm okay with forgetting she exists.
Same thing with Janet Reno being the first female.
I don't know, man. I'm reevaluating my thoughts of Janet Reno. Maybe it's because it's the Miami rubbing off on me. Maybe it's because, you know, I realize that Black Miami has a very different view of Janet Reno, but that's because of her effectiveness in Florida. On the national stage, she was a totally different character altogether.
And, you know, I mean, we're all different characters as we go through life, and there are second acts, so maybe, but all the same, her legacy in the federal government as Attorney General is pretty horrible. And I don't think we need to tie that to her being being boundary breaking. They can exist
No.
separately. You can compartmentalize and say,
Yeah, you
it's
can. And
good
I
that it
think
happened. I don't care that it was her.
I'm sad we wasted the milestone on this one.
Like
But
Kirsten Sinema being the first openly bisexual senator.
go,
Like,
you know
why
what? We
fucking have
full.
to be her?
We full. Like, I often think, yeah, great, we busted the boundary. I'm really mad we wasted it on her.
I think that's going to be the case with all the boundary breakers for the most part. It's when society moves on past a point, the way our government's set up is it's just always going to be the most fascist Republican or the most neoliberal Democrat.
Yeah.
And, we look back at the horrible expansion of the drone war under Obama, and like he was a president who did a lot of bad things, but then again, every president's going to.
You've done a lot of bad things. Yeah.
But the fact is, he broke that barrier and it moved the conversation along. And for that, I think as a society, it's something we should be grateful for. Like fucking, I don't know enough about British history. Was Margaret Thatcher the first female prime minister, or was there someone before her?
No, unfortunately, it was her.
Okay. Well, whatever. And then
like I said,
Theresa May, the next one.
Like I said, the breaking the boundary been wasted. Though I would prefer the good citizens of Hackney to give an honest opinion about Diane Abbott. I'll wait for the honest citizens of Hackney to give me the truth about Diane Abbott, because it is what it is.
So, I think we've talked broadly a little bit, like, at the end of Harris's 4-year term, if she wins, I'm not going to like her as president, but I am certainly glad at what she represents in what she's not and what she can lead to in the future.
I'm just going to be happy that we all got through it. No, I'm going to be happy that we all got through it, but I'm going to be wondering, if she wins, where will the Republicans go from here?
If they're smart, they will retreat to the same kind of they'll retreat to the same kind of heinous policies under a lot more polished and insidious type of candidate, like they used to,
I'm sorry. The reason I am laughing is this. I will never remember they had the post-mortem after Romney lost.
Yeah, that didn't
fucking listen to a goddamn thing. The post-mortem said, hey, we need to listen to minorities, listen to women, make sure that we make room for young people in this party. I mean, they did make room for young people, but they made room for young white incel men that absolutely, yeah.
I don't know why people like to think that the younger generations will always be more.
Yeah, liberal. I'm tired. No, I need young millennial white women who are raising kids to know. Parking your child in front of the TV for Sesame Street on loop, joining that diverse church or Boy Scout troop is not racism proofing your white son. Being okay with him dating non-white people will not racism proof your white son or daughter. That is actual work you have to do. You cannot toss that off to your husband, because chances are he's probably not the best person, and you already know that. But all of those things are not going to racism proof your white child. You are going to have to actually work. You are going to have to actually pay attention to where they go online. You are going to have to actually check their social media follows and their algorithms. Because I am not in the mood to have my roommate and my friends mail my hospital pictures to my nearest Republican congressman or senator in the event your little Aiden loses his shit. We not doing that today. Go do the work. I'm tired. That's why I don't have children. Because the mortality numbers ain't nothing to fuck with. And then me having to life-proof my kids against your little racist fucks does not sound like a good time. Actually do the work. Buy the books. Drag your kids to the movies. I'm not in the mood to
Cause
have...
of death, Broward County Sheriff's dipshit son.
Yeah. I'm not in the mood to be... I'm not in the mood to go back to a hospital that I still owe money to for major GSW surgery. Oh, wait, she's diabetic. We don't even know if she'll live. I'm not in the mood for that. We're not doing that today. Just because I decide to work a second job at a gay bar does not mean I need to die because you couldn't teach your son a goddamn thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
And I sure hope that, speaking of the wrong lessons being learned, I sure hope that all the girl bossing aside, if Kamala Harris does win, people won't try to learn the lesson like they did with Obama, that we're in a post-racist...
We are not in a post-racist or post-sexist society. It's just the Republicans are in shock and they're going to figure out how to fuck it up. Especially what I'm finding in Florida, having lasted from my snap judgment of doing phone banking, people in Florida are going to be willing to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm not saying the state will flip blue. I'm not saying that it won't flip blue. What I am saying is that
if their enthusiasm to voting for her helps down ballot, that's enough.
That's the thing. Florida's weird. We will vote all day at blue at the top of the ticket. Then it gets real red once you cross past the big ones. And I need,
I was just going to say, I forget the meme, but it was like the Florida election results be like 90% for socialism, for yes socialism referendum, 60% Republican governor.
Yeah. Every fucking time. It's voting like that is not is just simply you're voting for gridlock, and sometimes gridlock is not good, especially at the state level.
North Carolina is going to split ticket. I do not think Harris is going to win North Carolina, but Mark Robinson.
Mark Robinson is just too bad of a candidate. I will not be shocked if Josh Stein becomes governor, but that state remains red. I will not be. There's historical precedent for a lot of this shit. Though I will say this. The only other man who came in, only other dude who came in was Haitian. And I'm going to be honest. Though the first elected officials to call out JD Vance are from New York, and to that, sac passe, love you guys in New York, because New York does not fuck around. And I think island people in other states, we don't need to just love New York for the great deals in shopping, the access to good local food, and the fact that a bacon, egg, and cheese is really still not that expensive. You can love New York for the fact that your cousin in New York will not put up with people's shit. That the island population in New York will not put up with people's shit. And I think we need to really start taking a page out of their book. That minorities, especially island folks, and I do include the Irish in this, have 200 years of not taking people's shit. We need to start matching energy. Matching energy.
I don't understand what's the whole deal with the Irish-Palestinian solidarity. What's that you're drinking? It's called an Irish car bomb.
Exactly. I don't understand the idea with Irish Jamaican the Irish Jamaican solidarity, Irish Jamaican and Palestinian solidarity. Is that a red stripe you're fucking drinking? Are we really doing this today?
God,
Is
I want Charles to live long enough to lose Jamaica.
I mean, that is. Let's put it like this: Andrew Holness talks a lot of game, but I do think if the Parliament keeps pushing, it may happen. It may not happen immediately. I'm not talking, it's going to happen in the next session, because LOL, no. But I do think it will happen. I think that if Kamala Harris gets into office, that it might push things along? Believe it or not, in a tangential way, yes. Yes, I do believe that having a Jamaican American president in office will push some shit along that we didn't anticipate pushing along. I said what I said.
Because the Senate map in 2 years' time is very favorable to Democrats.
Yeah.
If Harris wins, she is not going to get a favorable Senate map the first 2 years. She might.
No, she's not. She's
lose
gonna have
the Senate entirely.
She's gonna have a trash Senate.
Yeah. There's an independent in Nebraska or Kansas. Kansas or Nebraska, who's running, who might possibly win, who might caucus with the Democrats, and that might offset the pretty much inevitable loss of John Tester in Montana. And if that happens, there's a possibility.
I love that big old galoot, but yeah, you're right. That shit's a long shot.
Yeah.
Love that galoot, but.
And Hogan might possibly win in Maryland. Now, if Hogan, we're probably definitely going to lose Tester. And if Hogan wins in Maryland, that means the Senate's lost, period.
Yeah.
But if we can keep a 50-50, that might be enough. I don't know what's going to happen, but Harris, even if she wins the presidency, unless she's super incredible down ballot, she's going to get at best split Congress like the last 2 years under Biden. So I think it's not going to be a very fun time.
It's going to be a very rough. It's going to be rough.
And in those 2 years' time, if we get a very favorable Senate, like I'm talking like 54 or 56, there's the possibility they could eliminate the filibuster and put up for votes to hold referendums in all of our island territories to ask them to vote for freedom or statehood.
Ooh.
And I'd be willing to bet most of them would vote statehood.
I know that with Puerto Rico, that would be the bellwether. That would be the bellwether. I think Puerto Rico would be the bellwether.
The Marianas and the Virgin Islands love not having to pay as much in taxes and having the tourist money coming in. So they
might vote statehood.
Yeah, or they might vote status quo. That could also be.
Yeah, I could see them voting status quo. I could see Guam possibly voting statehood. It's a long shot. But Guam voting statehood, and I think Guam is relatively blue to purple. Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of
though I would rather see DC become a state.
Oh, yeah. I think the problem with DC is, unlike, the territories, DC is mandated as a district. So I think DC, even if it were voted to become a state, the Supreme Court would be like, nah, bruh.
Yeah, and it's that Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And though, could she expand it to the 13 to match the 13 federal districts? That's the thing. I'm always framing it as the 13 for 13. Because
what I think she should do is,
I think she should focus on that first.
I think the smart move would be that you expand it to 13. You work out a deal where you expand it to 13 in stages so that a new chair opens up every 2 years. And it basically gives Republicans the idea, okay, we can possibly expand the court with more and pack it with more Republicans in the next election. But it's risky, but making the next election another referendum on the Supreme Court after all the fuck that just happens could be quite the good referendum.
Yeah, it could actually, that could be the one thing that would actually make her presidency, like the idea that it was a black woman that expanded the Supreme Court. I mean, that's a very base way to put it. It's a base and basic bitch way to put it. But, I mean, we here now.
I think the other way is that she, increase it by 4, but basically elevate a single Trump judge.
I think that would actually make a lot of sense. I'm sorry. That would be I would be able to live with that concession. I could go to bed with that concession. I'm sorry. I am still praying for, I need my indigenous jurist. I need my Asian American. I need my Asian American, Pacific Islander, Hawaiian jurist. I need those.
The other thing, we
finally got ours. I need everyone else. We finally got ours. I need everyone else. Damn.
If Harris wins, Kagan and Sotomayor should step down. I love them,
but I get it. I love them, but I get it. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I get it. I think under the safety of a Democratic presidency, they should, at least Sotomayor, as a fellow diabetic, ma'am. I'm not saying that she can't do the job. I'm not saying that at fucking all. I just don't know. I don't like the idea of forcing anyone out, even though it's worked already.
I do now.
You're like, bitch, it worked before. We doing that shit again. You're like, we doing that shit again.
Fuck your dignity. Fuck your career. Your decisions affect lives. You should have retired in 2010. You miserable fucking hag.
Oh my God! You're like, no. You're like, no. You are so done.
Fuck your stupid, fuck your stupid little neck doily and your, fucking push-ups.
I'm going to be honest. I do love the fact that Ketanji did kind of inherit the neck doily. That's cute. I like that shit.
I'm glad that she was, a 50-year-old and not like fucking, I'm glad he didn't appoint some seasoned August,
No, he appointed a 50-something bitch, we are not doing this again. Don't say I never gave you nothing.
Fucking Jasmine Crockett should be the next fucking appointment. She's 35 and she's an attorney, and she would fuck that shit up, and she would be on there.
I'd live for it because at the very least, the group chats between Ketanji and Jasmine would be fire. You would probably their text messages to each other probably would 4,000 years by now be cited in courts.
So there's two things that I think should two options for reforming the Supreme Court. One is to keep it at 9 justices, but their terms are maximum fixed 18 years in 2-year election cycles. So I
love it.
So that way, someone's up every 2 years, and the current crop would be cycled out.
I love it.
Yeah. And so
I'm going to be honest. The reason I love it is because I love Ketanji Brown Jackson, and I think that she would make an amazing professor. And even in my dotage, I would treat it like a fucking trip to Mecca to audit a class from her.
And the way we would phase it in is it's basically based on reverse seniority currently.
Sorry, I couldn't believe I reacted.
2 years from now, Thomas's seat would be up. 2
Bye,
years
bitch.
after that, Roberts, I think, is the next most senior. And 2 years after that, Alito. Even though it's making them have 8, they would be the last justices to serve more than 18 years. and so on. And it would be
I love
things
it.
like if someone leaves in the middle of the term or dies, the person would be fulfilling the rest of that term and that term only, and they could be eligible for being re-upped if they've served less than half of the previous term.
I do like that. I do like
Basically,
the idea
no
of
one would ever
cycling
serve
out
more than 27 years.
I do like that idea of cycling them out. And like I said, and first, like I said, I just want to see us get to 13, because to me, 13 it makes sense. You can argue it, and you can argue it all day, every day. It's logical. It flows. It creates a hierarchy that is discernible by the regular person.
If it's 13 justices, I think the term should be 13 years, one replaced every year.
But I honestly feel like it would, to me, it feels like if we were to go to 13 justices, it would be something that, I think the reason many Republicans don't want that is because they don't want to be able to, they don't want a government that people can explain to the regular person. And having 13, I said what I said, and 13 justices for 13 federal districts fucking makes sense to the regular person. I can explain that half drunk at a pounding gay bar while the person I'm talking to is zonked off poppers.
And you're not even running for president. Meanwhile, did you see the clip of Jill Stein on the Breakfast Club when she was asked about how many like senators and representatives are in the government, and she thought it was over 600. Like, you're running for fucking president,
you fucking Russian cicada Matroska doll bitch.
She's the creeper.
I have watched way too much Scooby-Doo, and now I can't unsee it. God damn it, I can't unsee it, Ren. And now I just rolled back to watch the cokehead, the coke. He's not actually a cokehead. He just looks like a coke kingpin. The head coach of Miami looks like a coke kingpin now.
I don't actually
I don't know
the Dolphins.
Yes. I don't know how to explain it. Like, Miami totally rubbed off on this man. First, it was the high water pants. Then it just went
Mike McDaniel.
Yes.
I can't remember the actor's name, but he looks like the guy who played Will Graham on Hannibal.
Bye.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Not saying, did you not see me? I didn't say you were wrong. I'm just mad about it. Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, Coca-Cola needs to be stopped, but I'm not mad about it.
Oh, you're talking about the Oreos, aren't you?
How you know?
Because when you said they need to be stopped, I knew.
They need to be stopped, but yet I'm not mad about it because they really go good with either chocolate flavored vodka or vanilla flavored anything.
Because once you're 10 sheets to the wind, anything tastes good?
No, I'm not that drunk.
I tried it. I wanted to like it.
I like it. But then again, oddly enough, every time I go to Johnny Rockets, I get the chocolate.
Johnny Rockets.
I get the chocolate flavored soda. So,
do you know the closest Johnny Rockets from here is like an hour and 15 minutes?
It's in King of Prussia, ain't it?
No, it's in this outlet mall in like I can't remember the name of the town. It's like Tamament or something. It's somewhere in the Poconos near this place called. Now, I am going to type the name of this town. You get off at an exit to get there at a place called Scott Run. I'm going to type that out. Scott Run, and hopefully, can you see the chat?
Let's go look. I'm looking in the private chat. Let me look in the comments.
Yeah.
No, there it is. Scott Run.
You misread that. When you saw it, your brain saw something else, didn't it?
No.
SCOTRUN.
No.
Oh man.
I'm not seeing scrotum. I know that's what you want me to see, but I'm not seeing it. I see Scott Run, but then again, I blame imperialism for that. That is imperialism's fault.
The fact that you knew. Just all I'm saying.
But I blame imperialism for me not fully grokking that. And speaking of grok, have you ever used grok? Because I'm not using
No.
anything associated with that man.
It costs money, and I wouldn't pay 10 cents.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Like no. I'm like, I need no. But do you follow Elon's daughter on anything?
No, I don't even need that in my life.
She's amazing. She's adorable.
Yeah.
You're like, I root for her, but I don't need to follow her.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate what she's going through, and I root for her.
You're like, I root for her. I don't need to follow her. And I think she probably knows, and I'm going to be honest, I think she probably knows and loves the fact that she has fans that will never, ever follow her on a goddamn thing. She knows she has she knows she got invisible fans. Like, I mean, there's a certain joy and maturity in knowing that you have invisible fans and loving the fact that they're invisible. She's like, I don't even need to worry about these bitches. I got invisible fans.
I just, I blocked Musk because, it's just, I don't, who needs that?
And honestly, I blocked Elon Musk for my mental health. And after watching, like, I don't like Taylor Swift, but a lot of the people that don't like that Taylor Swift doesn't like, I don't like. So it's kind of like this weird situation.
It's like Stalin against the Nazis.
It's like, I don't really like her, but I don't like Elon Musk. I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like J.K. Rowling.
Let's take a brief aside about that whole Taylor Swift thing. She announced her endorsement for Kamala Harris like 10 minutes after the debate ended, as if Kamala Harris were about to drop an album.
Yeah, like she's Beyonce about to drop an album. She like, okay, I wanted to be charitable. You know me. I'm like, I may not like her, but I'm going to be charitable. I'm like, she watched the debate. She saw what she wanted, what she needed to see, and then she endorsed. And of course, the Swifties love that explanation because it makes her look like the mastermind that they hope that she is, except when she's in trouble, then she's just innocent baby and she didn't mean it.
Look, she's the white child of wealthy parents from rural Pennsylvania. Tennessee. Even if she is a Democrat, she will side with property and capital over people every time. I wouldn't put it past her that there was an opportunity that she might have voted for Trump under the right circumstances. And no one can convince me otherwise.
No, here's the thing. A lot of black people, if you ask them, they're like, okay, so she endorsed him. She endorsed Kamala. And
I don't think anybody cares. I don't think anybody was waiting for it, even her fans.
No, people were waiting. People, I wouldn't say waiting for it, but people, the moment it became official, were fucking ecstatic about it. Me, I was just ecstatic for the visuals and the fact that that it no longer was an issue.
I do appreciate that much. Oh my God.
I'm like, listen, now the Swifties from Kamala can actually make these damn phone calls.
First the fucking Super Bowl, then the fucking DNC. I'm so glad people will no longer be speculating about when she's going to make her appearance or announcement or this or that.
I'm just happy, like, bruh, listen, you can now make the bootleg friendship bracelets because the official one's already sold out. You can now make the phone calls. You can now make the bootleg swag. You can now do the things and leave the rest of us alone. Ma'am, just go be basic and vote for Kamala. We appreciate you. Thank you. Good for you. I will say, though, certain people I think are also seeing that this might be a problem for them. The fact that so many I'm going to be honest. This is going to be a very long shot. I think that factor, plus the fact that Gloria Johnson is running against her, is why Marsha Blackburn nor her hair felt comfortable co-signing JD Vance's and Trump's libel against Haitians. I think it's the fact that she's like, the Swifties endorsed Kamala, plus I'm running against another white woman with better hair than me. I better tighten up. My hair will just still look like I slept in it after rolling through the nearest Bucky's trucking lot. But yeah, I'm not going to endorse all that lying shit that he just did. I'm trying to actually keep my Senate seat, even though I don't take advantage of the Senate hair salon. Listen, if I mention Marsha Blackburn, I gotta read her for her hair. It's literally, I think I get my card taken away.
The ridiculousness of the lies about the Haitians or the Venezuelan gangs and stuff like that is one of those things where I don't think a need to dignify it. But I mean,
for me, no. Here's the thing. It's the fact that a lot of this is not new.
No.
It's the fact that this is the shit I heard as a 10-year-old, 8-year-old growing up in Miami. That this is the shit my father had to tell grown-ass people. Where did you hear that? Had to be like, and where did you hear that from? You know, Radio Mambi just says whatever. And they see it in Spanish so they can get away with it. Oh yeah, no, my dad clocked a lot of Spanish radio before the scandals came out. He clocked them as racist before we all found out. And he's like, they just say that and they're just lying. You know, and I know that Haitians don't eat dog. And he had to constantly do that.
Well, they sidestepped when people are saying, like, you know, it was one American woman who is a citizen who votes, who like killed a cat at hundreds of miles away from Springfield, and all of a sudden it's Haitians eating a cat. That didn't happen. Someone says, well, someone got a picture of some Haitian carrying a duck. I'm like, so your problem is, I guess, with the Fish and Game Commission. Maybe check and see if he has proper licensing, because people eat
ducks all the time. I think I've eaten duck in the last 2 years.
You've seen tons of, there was an entire show that white people love about ducks and hunting them.
Apparently hunting ducks is fine if you're white and you're doing it in the bayous of Louisiana. But if you are black and you are getting weird and you are getting creative with it, there is a problem.
You've seen the photo, and it's basically just a black guy carrying a duck. Like that's it. That is their evidence.
We don't even know if he ate that duck. All we know is he's carrying the duck.
He could have staged a fake bike accident with it, for all we know.
Or he could just be carrying it to the pond that he knows. Or he could be carrying it to the pond that he knows that his kid goes to.
The racism of Trump was like already up a notch, and we were talking. People were like, "Is he going to say it? Is he going to say it?" And the moderators brought up the whole, your comment about her suddenly becoming or turning black. Like, oh God, they're still doing this. They're still fucking doing this.
Of course, they're doing this.
Candace Owens jumped on that real quick, basically saying.
And what gets me is, I'm like, ma'am. You let that British man nutting you enough times to create children. And you gonna get on our Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, American Riviera's good internet and ask that? I know that's not you talking. I don't know if it's the fact that she couldn't quite get an actual Noble and had to get one off of Temu. I don't know what we're doing here.
Aside from the fact that she went to an HBCU and was a member of a black sorority, there's also the fact that, like, I'm sorry, Candace Owens basically posited that biracial people can't exist. You have to choose one. I'm fucking sorry. Could Homer Plessy have chosen white? Could Homer Plessy have chosen white? Was that like if someone came and was just like, man, if you pick if you pick white, you can
Well,
stay where you are.
I mean, that's how Joe Magniello ended up part with like 1/8 black ancestry. I mean, where else are children of rape and unsanctioned licentious events going to go? They're going to
Oh
go
my God,
somewhere
that
where
was
they
the one
can.
where Piers Morgan said that, she had a slaveholder ancestor. How did that happen, Piers?
How'd that happen, honey? Yeah,
Just
I've lost count of how many times I've had to bring that up to white people. Anytime, listen, I hate to break it to you people. Anytime you meet a black person who has a moderate to light skin tone and has 2 black parents, somebody in their lineage got raped. You're welcome. Somebody in their lineage got assaulted, and the father sold the evidence.
it's why
You're
people
welcome.
like when Trump makes fun of Elizabeth Warren for her belief based on what her family told her that she had Native American blood, as if it's so ridiculous. And like, why do you think there are so many people who are not full-blooded Native Americans?
American.
Donald, Jesus, it's because the
Right.
genocide is complete.
Yeah. In the case of black people, the genocide was not complete. So you're still going to have living, breathing, walking, talking evidence. Doria Ragland did not end up that light skinned by accident. Doria Ragland's people are from Georgia. You do the math.
I really would have loved to have seen, speaking of which, Kamala Harris code switch at the debate itself in front of Donald. See if it could have like triggered him even further. Just like 3 words, just like a phrase.
Nah. Code switching is not a party trick. Code switching is actually the exact opposite. Code switching happens when you are at your most safe.
Yeah, fair. You're right.
And she was on alert. And I don't blame her.
Gosh, Trump was so off balance.
It was so amazing.
If they go for another debate, I don't know.
He's not. I don't think he will. His advisors realized how badly how badly that woman took the shillelagh to him. She took the shillelagh to him. She took the chancla to him. She absolutely made him rethink a lot of decisions in his life.
He's never rethought a single decision in his life. Well,
but I
maybe
bet you
Eric.
Maybe Eric. But honestly, I think after that debate, he for a fraction of a second rethought some shit. I know he probably had rethought JD Vance.
Immediately. Oh my gosh. The way he kind of threw JD under the bus again.
The fact that he said, "We don't talk," I'm like, that's your vice president, sir. You mean you don't talk to the I like the fact that she did leave it hanging in the air because I think it is to a degree that it is good that you assume like presidents and vice presidents talk, right? At least for the modern imperial presidency, they do.
That's why she and Tim need to be doing more of those little things and appearances together, those little videos where they're just being fun together. Yeah. They need more of that.
Honestly, I think what she needs to do is she needs to have a town hall. We deserve a town hall. We deserve a town hall because the run up to the town hall alone is worth it.
I'd love to see a town hall with her and Trump because I want to see how she reacts and handles Trump trying to like fucking prowl behind her, like as you know, like he did with Clinton.
That probably would be the one thing that would throw her off, a town hall style debate with Trump, because what would happen is because it's not formal and it's not controlled, I could see her making it work, but at the same time I could see her not making it work.
I mean, I could always see her not making it work, but I also think the town hall, she is great interacting with individuals. It's where it is where, like,
she is very good at that. And also interacting with children. People think that, oh, she doesn't have children, she doesn't know how to do that. Oh, I'm like, as a prosecutor that has prosecuted rape, you have to know how to talk to people.
Well, the town hall questions are almost always less adversarial than the moderator questions at a moderator.
Yes, they are.
They are a lot more. The question askers are asking a lot more hopeful questions about what will you do this? Moderators are usually the ones that say, in the past you've done this, but now you said that. The town hall questions are always a lot more about
I'm in college. I'm in college. I know that the student loan thing got blocked by the Supreme Court. Are you gonna try again or what, sis? Like, it's gonna be a very informal, it's gonna be a very complicated question, kind of brought down to a simple, are you gonna try again or what, sis?
Look, to me, I still remember, it's 32 years ago. I remember the three-way town hall debate in 1992. I remember it so well, and I was a kid, but I remember it so well because it just was.
I'd have to look for it. Probably C-SPAN got it in the archives. I'm betting C-SPAN got it in the archives.
I've watched it as recently as, like, I think I watched it back at the 2020 election. I rewatched it around.
I'm going to be honest. I do think that a town hall would probably also throw him off balance, especially if this were a randomly picked crowd that his campaign had no hand in selecting. Because if his campaign had no hand in selecting it, he really doesn't know what he's going to get.
And also, it kind of, he wouldn't agree to it because the town hall won't have the mics cut. But, he's also, I think the only debate he would agree to is a similar style debate at Fox News, and that's it.
Yeah.
If he agrees to anything at all.
Yeah, and even then it would be iffy because Fox News sat there and said, bitch, you got smoked. We love you, but you got smoked. We're going to hold your hand while we tell you this, but you got smoked.
So we're coming up on about an hour, so we're going to end the show soon. But I wanted to say, I don't usually talk about celebrity news, but I wanted to mention James Earl Jones passing away because he's a formative part
of
pretty much everyone's childhood. Yeah, he said some pretty fucked up shit. I think it's more the fact that what I'm bringing up specifically is that a slept-on performance of his, because he was at his biggest with Star Wars, and after that he was at his biggest in the 90s with things like, Field of Dreams is late 80s, Field of Dreams and The Sandlot and stuff like that, and The Lion King. But I think a really big slept-on hit, and all 10 of you who watch know that I am big about labor. See the movie Madawan with Chris Cooper and Bob Gooden, he's minor role, Bob Gooden, David Strathairn as Sid Hatfield, and James Earl Jones as Few Clothes. It is a phenomenal story about the striking miners in West Virginia. It's a prelude to the Battle of Blair Mountain, which occurs after the events of the film. The film is more about the lead up to the Battle of Madawan, which takes place a month before it. It's low budget. There's no way they could have done a movie about the Battle of Blair Mountain with that. But it's a great, important film about labor. And James Earl Jones does a great performance. And I don't think it gets in his body of work. I don't think it gets talked about as much.
I'm going to say his performance as Admiral Greer. I don't care. That shit was amazing. And I'm going to RIP Admiral Greer because he had a happy marriage with a black woman, something that James Earl Jones could not do. I said what I said. Why am I so shady? But I needed to do it.
Because he said really horrible shit, and what can I say? That it's hard to give a tribute.
It's misogynoir all the way down, guys.
Yeah. But I wanted to use it as an excuse not to say I don't think James Earl Jones was the person with the best opinions and thoughts. But I think that with his death, it is an opportunity to tell people that there's a movie out there called Madawan with Chris Cooper and James Earl Jones.
I like Chris
is
Cooper.
Incredible.
I like Chris Cooper. I might watch that shit for Chris Cooper.
And David Strathairn.
Listen, I could go for some David Strathairn. So yeah, and I'm sure that Sirius has some opinions.
He's young and hot. Both of them, Chris Cooper and David Strathairn, young and hot.
And Sirius has opinions.
And gosh, I forget who else is in it that I'm trying to remember. Oh, it's killing me. Whatever, Google exists. Madawan, it's great. Probably on the Criterion channel.
Somewhere.
But with that, in other entertainment news, David Zaslav somehow still fucking alive.
Mother of God! I mean,
Absolute
what?
trash.
Listen, once the election's over, we really need. I need the witches to get on David Zaslav. Once the election is over, I need